You're watching The Globe. The Kingdom of Lesotho is hosting the 60th Southern African Power Pool. The SAPP was created in 1995 at the SADC summit held at Kempton Park in South Africa in Johannesburg. Member states signed an intergovernmental memorandum of understanding for the formation of the electricity power pool in the region.
Africa, light up the whole continent. Make sure that light is in every corner and curve of this continent.
Meeting at a critical time, many other countries are struggling with power supply. This meeting is looking at coming up with solutions. It's estimated that the region can save $37 billion when countries are working together.
In order to keep pace with developments taking place in our countries, it is incumbent upon us as countries to invest in electricity supply infrastructure, more so to avoid power deficits in future. I would therefore like to commend those member states that commissioned additional power generation in 2021 and those that are continuing to do so this year. The SADC region's economies are continuing to grow in fulfillment of the SADC industrialization thrust, and hence the region needs more power. I therefore call upon you as experts in the field to continue to apply your minds and bring to the table solutions that will keep the lights on.
However, aging infrastructure in many SADC countries seem to pose a threat to reliable energy supply, and Lesotho is no exception. 2 out of 3 generating units in the country are aging.
And unfortunately, we are told that the second unit is also having problems, which effectively means that as a country, as things stand, we are about to enter the high season of winter with likely one fully operational unit.
And the challenges that plague the region's biggest power producer, Eskom, paint a bleak picture for the power pool and the region as a whole. But negotiations are at an advanced stage to find solutions.
Yeah, we can say the picture is bad because this adds challenges to us as SAPP, because that is part of our mandate to help resolving also Eskom issues. Currently, they have a huge deficit, and it challenges us as members to participate in the resolution of their problems with investments in generation, new transmission infrastructure that are required to help South Africa resolve their problems. This is what we basically discussing in terms of projects. And also they can participate in competitive markets, so we cannot handle this directly with Eskom in direct agreements, but the SAPP market brings a platform where they can have an alternative, as long as we have the potential to place there for them to procure for power.
Having a pool actually helps in the equation, because if there was no pool, this project would only be developed for the sake of that country. Whoever funds it will be looking at the benefits of that country only. Now that we've got a pool, and by the way, we're now allowing what we call independent power producers to actually become members of SAPP, also to trade on the market. So you can have a plant developed here in Lesotho. Part of the power can be coming to Lesotho, but part can be exported to the region. That also helps to mitigate some of the risks that the funders may see, and we believe that will help in bringing up more funding for renewable energy projects.
Meanwhile, during Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni's state visit to South Africa on Tuesday, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa announced that Eskom has ended its 20-year contract with Uganda.
Eskom has been in Uganda for close on to 20 years, and actually this today marks the 20th anniversary, if you like, and brings an end to the agreement that Eskom had with Uganda. And there's nothing but applause to the manner in which Eskom has supported, has helped Uganda with its own generation, and Uganda now carries on forward with the assistance that it got from our Eskom over the many years, and they are now fully in charge of their own unit or entity that generates electricity.
Well, for a little bit more on this, we're now joined by Mohato Seleke, who's the Managing Director for the Lesotho Electricity Corporation. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. Welcome to the program.
Evening, Dumisa. Thank you very much for having us this evening. You're welcome, sir.
Tell us about this power pool. What are you hoping to achieve?
Well, I was listening very attentively in the clip that you just played. As I said, the power pool was established by energy ministers a couple of years ago in the 1990s, primarily to help coordinate efforts in order to provide a trading platform, an exchange, if you want to say, for the member countries of SADC to be able to supply energy and trade in energy. Those who have surplus generation capacity, they have the means to deliver energy into the markets. For those with deficits, they have a place to go for shopping. So basically, this is where demand and supply meet in terms of energy. So this is the wisdom that was behind the idea of setting up the Southern African Power Pool.
So what's on the agenda for this gathering now?
A couple of issues that are pressing us as the region, as utilities, and as you may have heard in the deliberation that ensued, we are also welcoming the private sector to come to the party in the form of IPPs. So the main issues facing the region is to find mechanisms to better plan projects at the regional level. We have dealt with issues on project preparation, a big topic and area of great passion for me, myself. We are also dealing with issues around how to enhance cross-border trade itself. So it's been quite a number of areas that we have looked at. Another important area that is also more relevant in today's project planning issues is environmental issues, given the pervasive nature of climate change. That has also featured very prominently in the discussions that we have had.
What is the state of play for Lesotho in terms of electricity provision at this time?
A big one, Denisa. Look, in my remarks, my brief remarks to the conference, I alluded to severe pressures on the security of supply facing the economies of the region. The specific case of the Kingdom of Lesotho is also something that I spent quite a few minutes on. We rely mostly on power that we import from outside because our local generation capacity is no longer sufficient to meet the growing demands of our economy. There have been a number of developments that have happened in the past few years in the areas of industrialization, in the areas of urbanization. So that has increased pressures on the grid, pressures on the needs for generation of more capacity. So that's the issue that I've dealt with regarding the Kingdom of Lesotho. But more specifically, it's also the issue of aging infrastructure. And when we look at our generation facility that we have here as a country, it has been under quite some pressure since a few years back, but the turning point came in June last year, and we are seeing more signs that we need more investment in reworking and improving the shelf life of this facility. So this is coming at the most difficult time, not only for us but also for the region. We mentioned challenges faced by Zimbabwe, the challenges faced by Zambia. We are well aware of what has been happening with our neighbors in South Africa. Over to you there, challenges with Eskom. So the pressures have been building up from a security of supply point of view. But another issue that is also of great importance for us as a country, but also as a region. It's not just issues on generation, making sure that as a country we put in sufficient public investment into generation space. We incentivize the private sector to come to the party and play and help generate. But we also simultaneously build the carrying capacity. We invest in the transmission infrastructure to be able to evacuate the power, and much more significantly for the purpose of the pool, for the purpose of the gathering that we had this week, for our ability to be able to take the power and integrate into the South African power pool. You see, when we begin to drive much more aggressively in areas of generation, it will happen that we may have excess capacity. That excess capacity has to find its way into the pool. You need carrying capacity for that. You need to be able to do something to improve capacity of our transmission networks. This is what is preoccupying us in this part of the world as we move into the future.
All right, so what's the short-term solution with all of this rolling blackouts, power shortages? What can you do?
Well, for the region, it's quite a challenge. I think what generally we are looking at options of improving coordination, and encouraging more countries to participate in the market. Remember, when you look at the supply situation within the region, we have a number of countries with surplus capacity, but a great number of countries also in deficit. So that overall, the region, I think we're looking at about 5,000 megawatts in deficit overall for the region. So in the short term, it's much more important that every one of us, every member state, every utility invests in their capacity to be able to trade, to access the market in order to tap on the surplus that may be available from other areas. That's the issues. But another critical one, I think, is on the demand side, on the demand management side, to be able to, as much as possible, manage certain levels of consumption on the user side to allow us to roll out the investment in the medium to long term. I think that's what we're looking at. And the discussion touched on a number of projects, generation projects that are happening in the region. So looking forward, I think the future is better than what we are currently experiencing at the moment. I should also emphasize for you an important point, and I mentioned this earlier, about the carrying capacity. This is very critical. What we have set up at the regional level is what is called a regional transmission infrastructure financing facility. We call it RTIF, a regional transmission infrastructure financing facility, which basically pulls in resources from development partners, concessional financing, grant financing, in order to help the region interconnect, in order to help the region build the necessary capacity from a transmission point of view so that we can be able to carry and trade off this load across the region of SAPP. That's what we are looking at the moment, Timisa. Thank you.
Mr. Seleka, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you very, very much indeed. And we wish you the best with these deliberations, hoping that a regional solution can be found, particularly on the long term. Thanks for your time.
My pleasure, Dimisa. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, so that was Mohato Selege, who's the Managing Director for the Lesotho Electricity Corporation. His country is currently running the 60th Southern Africa power pool that's taking place in Lesotho at this time.